A massive thank you to AJ, DMC, Chris, Delirium and Zach for subscribing to the channel. If you're not already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below.
Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 22 of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we're here for the Season 1 finale from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the last two videos from Brazil, would definitely recommend going back and checking those ones out. Very, very exciting races from the Sao Paulo circuit. But yeah, as we head in towards the final race of the year, I just want to say, as always, a massive thank you to you guys for the continued support on the channel. At the time of recording this, we've now ticked over 69,000 subscribers, so all I can say to that is nice. Thank you very, very much as well. But yeah, you know, if you're not already subscribed though, please do help us get one step closer. By the time this video goes out, we might be pretty close to 70k. But yeah, of course, trying to aim for 100k by the end of the year. So if you're not already, it would be greatly appreciated if you could help us get one step closer. But having a look then as we head into the final race of the year, we've still got a few little bits and pieces that need to be done behind the scenes there. 8 R&D upgrades still left to go. It's going to be quite difficult actually in just one weekend, so we're probably going to have to do a bit of damage limitation here in Abu Dhabi. But championship-wise, of course, we all know the drill. Charles Leclerc, Ferrari, those titles are all wrapped up, but things still very, very spicy behind them there. A 4-car battle for P2 in the championship between Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, and of course George Russell, who has been on an absolute tear in recent weeks there. We're still 8th overall in the Constructors' Championship. We need Aston Martin and AlphaTauri to struggle in this final race weekend of the year there. The only real battle Constructors-wise is between Haas and McLaren for P5 overall in the championship. We're pretty safe as well in P14 overall, but I'm hoping Drogovic in his last ever race for the team can try to pick up some points this weekend as well there. Of course, after this video, we're going to have to take a day off tomorrow, and then, of course, we'll be back on Thursday, I think, with the driver transfer and pre-season testing news ready for Season 2. But yeah, Abu Dhabi, though, of course, at the new layout here from the final race weekend of the season. Much, much improved Yas Marina. Let's get into it then, of course, for the final time as well, with a Pirelli Hotlap. These aren't going to be continuing during Season 2. Yeah, I must admit, you know, have enjoyed doing these Pirelli Hotlap challenges, you know, something a bit different on F1 22, but they obviously, you know, do get a little bit repetitive after a certain amount of time. You know, some of the autocross events have been quite good fun, and I always enjoy drifting these cars around as well on F1 22, but it's not something, you know, that I sort of want to see feature in every single video from this series. But I only need the 10,000 points then here from Yas Marina to try and get the perfect score, as that is optimistic down at the hairpin. Of course, yeah, now, you know, back at the new version of Abu Dhabi, you know, I never really, every single season in the past when I've got here, I've always said, you know, it's quite a disappointing championship finale here from Yas Marina, just because the track was never that fun. But now, yeah, this year might be a bit of a different story, as trying to drift down the straight is probably not recommended, as we're kind of just weirdly slaloming. It's not brilliant, but it's got me more points than I would have just by driving straight, I suppose. Must admit, the other added bonus of the new version of Abu Dhabi is just how easy it is to actually drift round here. We might finish our last Pirelli Hotlap with easily the gold score there. I mean, we've still got 30 seconds left on the clock, and that's going to be it. A gold score here from Yas Marina. So yeah, certainly now this track much, much easier to drift around. Don't think that's really going to help us over the course of the weekend, but yeah, I suppose we may as well jump right in then. Let's get into practice here from Yas Marina. Right, well, here we are then for the final time in Season 1 of our F1 22 career mode here in Abu Dhabi, and really does feel like the end of an era in Formula 1. Of course, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso both hanging up the gloves at the end of this weekend. Would really like to see both those drivers have a strong final show, and I know I got questioned by a lot of you as to why I didn't feature Seb in our driver poll for next season, but obviously by the time that poll had gone live, I already knew Seb was retiring from the sport at the end of the year, and try as you might, you cannot re-sign drivers that have confirmed to be retiring in F1 22. Exactly the same story on F1 21. So yeah, Sebastian Vettel and... My lord, where am I off there? What is wrong with the back end of this thing? That was bizarre. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso both retiring come the end of this year. 6 world championships we're going to be losing from this Formula 1 grid. And of course that then just means we've only got 2 world champions on the grid for next season. That is Lewis Hamilton and of course Max Verstappen. And now technically Charles Leclerc, I suppose. First lap then here of our track prioritisation, that was 420 points. If I wasn't so desperate for R&D, I would probably settle for that, but we need the purple score. Out of the final corner then, what's this score going to be? Oh, we just about clutch it up, 5 points over. That's going to start the weekend with a much needed purple. Right, jumping into my race simulation run again, the real question all season long has just been, what is the right amount of aero to run? But that is going to be a green score on the first lap, just need 2 more of those. And we will walk away with the purple overall. And to be honest, that's reassuring, because that first lap didn't feel particularly brilliant here at Abu Dhabi. You kind of just forget now, of course, with the remodel, just how much battery you can use around the lap. Of course, not going to try and use that much in the race, otherwise I'll be on 0 in about lap 5. But of course, only over a 3-lap sprint, you can absolutely use as much as you want. It always amazes me now as well, you know, just the subtle changes that they've done to Abu Dhabi through this final sector, and still just how much better the track feels to race around now. You know, it still feels like a challenge, especially through this final few corners where a lot of them are still off camber, as that is definitely not the line through the penultimate turn, but it just gives it so much more flow and makes you want to attack around this track. But out of the final corner, that's going to be the purple score on the race sim. 1 more program to go in the qualifying sim run, and that should earn us a lot of R&D. Yeah, and the qualifying simulation run, there is going to be no chance I can suddenly find, what, about 7 seconds over my race sim run programs there. It reckons we need to be aiming for a 123 here in our quali sim run, which, yeah, is just never going to happen. I think a low 25 is certainly doable, but a 23 is ridiculous levels of pace that, you know, I like to think I'm not too bad. Whoa! On the F1 games, I'm definitely bad if I do that sort of line. But yeah, there's no way any sensible non-esports driver is going to get that sort of time round here. Yeah, that's not going to quite be the end to practice I want, but I suppose we've got to get into qualifying nonetheless.
Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, the choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like.
The sun begins to set then here in Abu Dhabi, just like it does over this Formula 1 season. We've got 1 more qualifying session to try and navigate our way through, and let's just see if we can try and get 1 final Q2 appearance in the books before the end of the year. Often we don't see many grid penalties in Abu Dhabi. Often a lot of drivers take them sort of for Brazil or Mexico, but you know, with a new track layout, plenty more opportunities to pass in the final race of F1 22. Might see a few more people trying to take the gamble there as that corner through the hairpin. Super satisfying when you get it right, but still I'm not working out a good consistent line through there that really hits the mark. Strogovic down to a 24.3, so that is actually very, very quick from our teammate, but the track definitely feels quicker once you get into the darkness. Doesn't help when I lock up both front tyres, and this lap's basically now a write-off. That was not fun down at the end of the straight, and one of those horrible moments where you know you're locking at the fronts and you still panic and just go even further. Currently fastest then down to a 23.8, so Drogovic isn't far away actually from a lot of the very, very competitive cars here. As through the final couple of turns we go. Verstappen now down on the 22.9, that is a fantastic lap by the Dutchman. And we only do a 25.6, that's a long way off even remotely where I want to be in qualifying. We've got a lot of work to do, but saying that, the AI are often very strong over 1 lap pace here. Yeah, still feel I'm not quite working out the maximum through some of the corners here as we get ready to start our 2nd lap then of qualifying. At the very least, we need to be down into sort of the mid to high 24s here. If we can find about a second on that first run. That'd be rather nice there, as front end still just pushing out wide a little bit through turn 1, but building up a bit more confidence around the rest of the lap there. You know, I can finally take that corner completely flat, as I'm trying to brake at the start of the curb. That is pretty much perfect that time around there, as we get nice throttle on the exit, try and get all over the white lines as you head onto the back straightaway. They're in 3/10 up already, and of course this was where I made the big mistake on my previous one. It's so important you don't clip that curb on the outside. You know, you want to get as close to it as you dare, make the corner as wide as possible, but there we go. That was another 7/10 of a second there, pretty much 3/4 of a second through one corner. So reassuring now, that as long as we don't do anything stupid through this final sector, we should be a lot closer to the pace as I was originally hoping there, as we head through the hairpin. Still just finding a few more hundredths of a second as the confidence slowly ramps up still. And down through there, you know, really just want to sort of try and be cool, calm and collected as you make the circuit as wide as possible through this final sector. I've got to be honest, from racing this track on F122, I can kind of understand how Latifi bottled it through there. It is very off camber and easy to do, but up towards the line, there we go, quicker than Drugovich then, down to a 24.2. That felt really good though. I'm not sure we're going to be able to find much more time on a final run, as I was pretty happy to match our teammate Felipe Drugovich, and now suddenly he's gone down to a 23.4 here, so we're going to need an absolute worldie of a lap if we want to make it through into the second qualifying session there. But Drugovich, in what might be his last ever Formula 1 Grand Prix, for now, really trying to prove his worth to other teams there. It's again just running horribly wide through turn 1. That time around we were able to pick up the throttle on the exit, and as we head through turn 2 and turn 3, we're just going to lose a little bit of speed as we head all the way down the hill there. Brake again just at the curb in third gear. Hopefully going to try and allow us to get on the throttle a bit earlier on the exit there, but not able to carry the speed and get to the apex like we were last time around there. But the first half of the lap was pretty good. There was only really mistakes in the second half as we head down the back straight. Again, just getting so close to feel like you're locking up through there, but that is not the line. Took way too much curb on the exit, and we might be saying goodbye to a Q2 appearance here in the final race of the year. I think we only needed a couple more tenths, but we're just going to have to be ridiculously brave through this final sector. It's going to have to be all or nothing as we chuck it in fourth gear through the hairpin. Really do not know the right line through there, but we get a nice run off the exits. Hamilton down to a 22.8.
Okay, there's 2 minutes left in this session and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap or that's qualifying over.
Well aware, Mark. We've got to do everything we can as we head through this final sector of the lap there. Get right all over the white lines. And 2 more corners to go. Big wobble on the way in there, but somehow we collect it on the throttle, but took way too much curb through the final corner. Big snap of oversteer, and it's P20 for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix there. That was frustrating. Really, when I wanted to try and up the pace, we just allowed the car to get too loose and lost control. And having a look then at our final results. Look at that, Drugovich down on a 23.3 there, half a second away from fastest at the end of Q1, so no idea how our teammate was able to find the pace he has, but certainly showing his worth, ready for next season there. Perez again out in Q2 then, not the qualifying session he would have wanted, but really struggled for pace in this final Q1 session of the year there. I mean, yeah, look at that, a second covering the top 16, but I guess we've just got to get on with it then. First ever proper 50% race, here at Yas Marina. Let's dive into it then for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
It's the final chapter of the season then here at the spectacular Yas Marina circuit. It's a race where the pole sitter failed to finish in 3 of the first 4 events. A front row start here is by no means a guarantee of victory. So we go into battle once more then, as we get underway at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.28 miles of track, featuring 16 corners with 2 very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both turn 5 and turn 7 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Valtteri Bottas and Magnussen, Sainz, Hamilton, Albon and George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon and Stroll, Perez, Mr. Monaco, Felipe Drugovich. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Sebastian Vettel. Latifi, they've taken a grid penalty, Gasly, Joe and Yuki Tsunoda. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Let's aim for a strong finish to the season.
Oh, wow. Mark, clearly not a big fan of all the hard work we've done this season, but you know what? We're going to prove him wrong one final time. Then P16 on the grid for the final race of our first season here on F1 22. Again, don't want to overfuel the car too much, but definitely going to need a little bit in it nonetheless. Unfortunately, Drugovich with some penalties as well, so he's starting alongside us in at P17. But yeah, one final time then in this first season. Fingers crossed, without any miracles for the other teams around us. P8 in the Constructors' Championship. We really have fought hard in the second half of the year there, but I'm looking at Albon up in P9. Could he try and push Williams a little bit higher up the order? That I would love to see. Well, it's Charles Leclerc then that's going to lead the way at the start, the final race of the year here, with Max Verstappen joining him on the front row. Will it be Max that finishes P2 in the championship, or will George Russell, Hamilton or Sainz be able to stop him here? Lining up on the grid for the final time, try and get a purple score. No, it's only green.
Let's try and get a good launch as the lights go out.
One final time though here for season 1 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. 5 red lights here in Abu Dhabi, and it is going to be 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go. And away we drift there as we head down towards someone. Drugovich going to be able to look past me immediately. And then very, very early on the brakes as we try to avoid Esteban Ocon down around the outside there. That's going to have Drugovich back past us as Sergio Perez making moves off the start in this Grand Prix. But of course now we don't have to prepare ourselves for the chicane down the end of the back straight. We've just got this hairpin. As look at that, Drugovich trying to get back involved there. We're going to try and look round the outside of Esteban Ocon as Drugovich, he's just pulled off 2 moves there with a very, very aggressive send down the end of the back straightaway. Of course, everyone as well around us with more upgrades piling on the car still late on in the year. As you can see now, 2-3 wide as we head down in towards the chicane, and up the inside we're going to go there as again Felipe making yet another move there. Esteban Ocon, just launches himself over the curbs. We have to take evasive action off the corner there and then can't put the power down. So Sebastian Vettel in his very last Formula 1 Grand Prix is going to try and get around the outside there. Latifi's going to try and make it 3 wide as we head down the back straight there as Latifi very, very aggressive on the inside there. I apologise to Seb for having to cut him off on the exit of the corner, but we're still going to be side by side with the Canadian down in towards the final sector. And again, we're just getting squeezed out by the AI at the moment. Zhou Guanyu tried to make it work up the inside as well. There is a little bit of a correction through the final few corners of this opening lap. But Charles Leclerc still leads the way then, as we've said so many times before on F1 22. Max Verstappen in hot pursuit in P2 there, with I think Russell P3, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz rounding out the top 6. No, that must be Alonso up in P3. El Plan, his final ever Formula 1 race. Could he get a podium? Here we go, Zhou Guanyu applying the pressure to me. And we got 2 cars up the road though, battling out. Oh, I think Lance Stroll's just tagged my teammate Drugovich there as we get towards the end of the back straight, but really struggling actually to put the power down on the exit of that chicane there. I think that's where we were losing a bit of time in qualifying as well. Is here comes Zhou Guanyu once again around the outside. You can see a tiny bit of damage on his front wing. As where do we break into that hairpin? About there. But is Zhou Guanyu going to be able to hook it up around the outside? Yes. Yes, in a word he is, as we go for a nice pirouette there on just lap 2 of the Grand Prix. We're not going to get any style points for that one. All we've done is shredded the rears. That was not what we needed early on. And now we're a couple of seconds away from the rest of the field there. We've not had much luck in the last couple of races of this year. Pierre Gasly, of course, took us out at the start of the sprint race last weekend. There is Drugovich into the pit lane already. So no idea what's happened there. What is going on with the rear end of this car there, as I wonder if Stroll gave Drugovich and Ocon damage, as we're now 3 seconds away. Yeah, when we're in clear air, I definitely feel like we've got a bit more pace over the likes of Tsunoda and Gasly just up in front of us. But yeah, Ocon and Drugovich 20 seconds back, and of course they're on an even more sort of difficult strategy now, try and pull through to the end of the Grand Prix. We're probably going to see them box before we do once again in this race, but it's just trying to put the power down through some of the corners. Of course, Abu Dhabi out in the desert, really difficult to try and manage the tyre temps, and safe to say early on we have struggled with them. And now what's not helping us at the moment is the fact, of course, the cars in front have got the DRS, so they're all just slowly sort of clumping up to each other, and we're just losing little bits of time down the straightaways to Yuki Tsunoda, who's really trying to just modulate the throttle on the exit and short shift our way out of the hairpin. But yeah, really struggling early on in this race. Can't help but feel that pirouette didn't do us any favours, as we just can't seem to find good consistent lines through some of the corners. I mean, look through there. Felt like I'd done pretty well, and we just lost another 1/10 and a half to Tsunoda. Doesn't sound like much, but when that's happening around quite a few corners on the lap, the pace can easily escape you. Oh, there we go. End of lap 6. Carlos Sainz there rather early into the pit lane, or start of lap 6 even, I should say. As, just walloped that inside curve there, and it immediately just throws you out wide. This is certainly not a hot lap guide about how to race around Abu Dhabi. Some of the lines so far have not been pretty. But yeah, surprised to see the Spaniard in so early onto his first set of tyres. They had no idea. I mean, it's Ferrari, isn't it? That's why he's on a set of softs early on in the GP. But now he's only on a set of mediums, so Sainz is probably legitimately down in P20. As we've got Zhou Guanyu and Lance Stroll battling up the road, I think. No idea who's going to come out on top in that one, but as long as it brings us closer, I don't care. It's one lap later, Sergio Perez into the pit lane as well, so at least we are slowly sort of picking our way back up through the order, but desperately want to try and find some better, more consistent lines around here, as the gap to Tsunoda is just inching the right way still, lap after lap. But yeah, I feel like we're pushing and not really getting much for it, as we have had the engine warning light come on. That is just the gearbox there, as that was a lovely lock-up down at the end of the back straight there. Just no rotation whatsoever. Gonna be honest, I'm not actually so sure that pirouette early on was a bad thing, because we really have spent these sort of first 10 laps just really learning the nuances of this new version of Abu Dhabi and how to try and extract pace out of it. So yeah, I'm not going to say that pirouette was a bad thing, because I reckon we would have probably ended up at the back of this group anyway, and then still with no idea sort of what we were doing. As now, you know, through that chicane, finally able to take a nice tidy line there and actually gaining a bit of time on Tsunoda in front. It really is just through this hairpin. I still cannot work it out. Do I go wide in and try and short shift on the way out there? There's a big bump on the exit. That's what I definitely crossed the car over on. But yeah, just I don't know how to drive through there. There we go. Lap 10, Drugovich back into the pit lane there, and I think Ocon has already come in again. Sergio Perez. Has Perez? No, Perez hasn't pit again. He's just come back out. Of course, on that set of soft compound tyres. I've got no idea what Perez is doing for a strategy today, but Yeah, might actually be close between myself, Perez and Sainz by the checkered flag. Because, yeah, now we're getting really close to being inside the range of Tsunoda. Right. On to lap 12 then of this Grand Prix there, as almost locking up again down at the hairpin. Can't help but feel like, yeah, we've absolutely destroyed this set of soft compound, medium tyres in the first stint of the race there, as they're still duking it out up the road there. This time around, I think Gasly and Zhou Guanyu going side by side down into the hairpin, but desperately hoping during the second stint in this Grand Prix we can try and find a bit more pace and consistency, because, yeah, we have really, really struggled later on these medium compound tyres there. But obviously got to be careful as well when we make the switch over to the hards, because we're just going to lose a couple of seconds on that lap. We just have to accept it as fact, unfortunately, at this stage of F1 22 there, as Zhou Guanyu loses the one place to Pierre Gasly. He's not willing to give up on it just yet, though. I mean, if these two keep battling, that could help me out, obviously, over the pit window, as you can just see through there now. It's just one flowing corner, as you just try and hit your marks. Don't know why I've gone down a gear through there, but none of those guys actually into the pit lane, and often the overcut is the way to go on F1 22. Right, can we nail our first and hopefully last pit stop of the Grand Prix there, as the team very quickly on the jacks. 2.4, yes please. We'll have that, thank you very much, as now we head down the pit lane. So difficult to do on previous F1 games, and especially now with the cold rubber. You're practically tiptoeing as you head back up the hill there, or wheel spinning in this instance, but desperately want to try and get temperature back into the tyres as we head down in towards the hairpin, because, yeah, we could still try and undercut the Alpha Tauri's and Zhou Guanyu here. As a nice lock up down at the bottom of the hill there, and so cold rubber as you try and head back up the other side. You can still see those fronts are struggling. Just going to try and weave a little bit, build up some temperature in them. The rears now are back up to scrub, which is good, and I think now the front tyres should basically be there. So we head through the hairpin, a little bit of understeer on the way in, but like I said, I've struggled all weekend through that chicane, so I guess that is what it is. Let's see how much time we've lost. It's definitely pushing through the final couple of turns there. Really difficult actually to try and get the car slowed down over that serrated penultimate corner turn there, but you can see everyone else now heading back out of the pit lane there. Sergio Perez, we know how close we're going to be to him by the end, and look at that. We might not have been overcut then in this Grand Prix. We've actually got the jump on perhaps Yuki Tsunoda when he dives into the end of this one, because now we're all over the back of Pierre Gasly here, and of course we're going to have nice warm sticky tyres as we head through the hairpin there. You can see Pierre trying to put the power down off the corner. That AlphaTauri's still got a lot of grunt, but to the outside of Pierre Gasly we go. We have to use a lot of battery as we head down the back straightaway, but we might just have pulled this move off. Gasly's going to try and keep the nose there. Super late on the brakes down into the hairpin, and Gasly's going to try and get the switch back on me, but we park it on the exit. He's still going to have the DRS though, so this is going to be very, very difficult as we head up the next straight there. No idea how we didn't end up with any DRS in that situation, but up the inside of Pierre we go. Finally building up a bit more confidence through the hairpin as Hamilton now fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but Gasly still not giving up. This one suddenly does. It all seemed a bit strange there from Pierre, but finally making more progress here in Yas Marina. Fingers crossed that can continue. Zhou Guanyu not far up the road. So here comes Tsunoda as we head back out through turn 1. Try and get the car slotted nicely there, and I think, yeah, Gasly has definitely been the biggest loser in all of this, but we're going to be all over the back of Tsunoda once more as we head down the hill. Of course, he's probably going to try and use a fair bit of battery as he tries to get those tyres now up to temperature, and could we just see a carbon copy of the move we made just one lap ago here, all over the back of Tsunoda. Again with the DRS though, he hasn't got any to defend himself this time round. Is Tsunoda going to go defensive? Can we get both AlphaTauris in 2 laps here? Is going to try and be a bit more calm and collected on the brakes. Squeeze Tsunoda towards the inside curb, trying not to get a big snap of oversteer on the exit. And that's going to be another AlphaTauri navigated, but surely again he's going to come back at me here. Makes it immediately clear which side he's going to go to there, so we're just going to try and cover him off with a bit of battery. Is Tsunoda going to be able to hook it up around the outside? It's always brave, and this time round the young Japanese driver admits defeat. Unfortunately though, Zhou Guanyu has been able to break away during all this. The gap now up to 2 seconds. On to lap 17 then. Here comes Carlos Sainz heading back out of the pit lane here, as we're going to see. Completely forgot about the Spaniard, to be honest, as to where he might re-emerge in this Grand Prix. And perhaps it's not going to be wise to jump Carlos Sainz there, as here comes Tsunoda back up the inside. Someone's clearly had an issue around us somewhere, as there's some DRS. There was some damage, or debris even I should say, down on the road there, but somehow, despite having a pretty even run with Tsunoda, we've got back around the outside of him, and now I guess our best hope is that Sainz can drag us both up to Zhou Guanyu and that little gaggle of cars up the road. It really hasn't been the best final couple of races of the year. Of course, we had such strong pace between sort of, what was it, about Italy and Mexico, but, you know, as we've focused completely now on Season 2, the Season 1 car has certainly struggled a little bit in these final couple of outings, but that's to be expected. You've got to think of the bigger picture. Well, the plan to try and keep up with Sainz hasn't worked out all too well for me, but if he can keep hounding Zhou Guanyu like he's just done through the hairpin, I certainly wouldn't complain there. As how have we still not got the DRS from him? We were definitely within the 1 second there as we went... Oh no, the detection point's way back beforehand. Ignore me, I'm being stupid here in the Yas Marina, but yeah, definitely hoping Sainz can do something, because we are just hanging on for dear life ahead of these AlphaTauris and want to try and start battling, you know, the Zhou Guanyu, the Aston Martins, as that is a huge lockup down the end of the back straight. That was not my finest. Here goes Sainz again then, round the outside this time of Zhou Guanyu as they head down into the hairpin. And again, Zhou Guanyu will just about hang on. The detection point through there as well is actually before the braking zone, so Sainz is definitely going to have the DRS on Zhou Guanyu, but we're still just trying to hang on close to these guys and hope that Zhou Guanyu gets a little bit tripped up in all of this. Are they going to go side by side through the chicane there? Sainz not wanting to back out of it that time, as we absolutely walloped the curb on the exit there. That's going to cost me and give Tsunoda a monumental run as we head down the back straightaway there. But the AlphaTauri doesn't have brilliant top speed. There is George Russell, new fast lap of the Grand Prix, still trying to fight his way back into contention, but we're just going to have to squeeze Tsunoda out there. Very, very aggressive on the curbing, but I knew if I took the corner much tighter, we would just spin ourselves around again. And now for pretty much the first time all day today, we're back inside the DRS range of Zhou Guanyu. There is a slight wiggle from the back end as we try to put the power down. We haven't got much battery though at this stage of the day, so I kind of got to hope that Zhou Guanyu loses the DRS to Sainz in front of him, and we can just kind of use it to close up to the Alfa Romeo there, as you can just see. Still able to get pretty brave on the brakes through some corners, but then just on the loud pedal, nothing, absolutely nothing on the throttle. The only other problem we face here, of course, is the fact that Alfa Romeo is a much, much quicker car than this one still at the moment. The AlphaTauri is pretty much on pace with us, so at least we've kind of got a fair fighting chance there. But yeah, that Alfa Romeo is still meant to be leaps and bounds ahead of us in terms of development. Zhou Guanyu hasn't had the best first season in this My Team series. A bit like real life, you know, he's kind of been trounced by Bottas, but of course, here in real life, we can actually sort of say more recently he's been very, very unlucky. Has probably missed out on a fair few points there. As now Gasly and Perez behind us starting to battle. So there are still these cars trying to carve their way back through, but goes to show just how competitive the field is, you know, the fact that Perez, it's taken him basically 22 laps, half the Grand Prix, more than half the Grand Prix, by a long way really, to even try and close up a pit stop's worth of time loss. And of course he's been on quicker tyres for most of the race. The team now warning us just about the engine. I think parts are starting to get a little bit warm. Keep pushing, says Mark as well there, as yeah, you can just see more and more parts on the engine getting pretty worn out, which is certainly not going to help us, especially now Abu Dhabi is so power dependent. Oh, we got yellow flags out though. Someone towards the front of the field's got issues. No idea who that is. Is it Hamilton? Is it George Russell? In the final race of the campaign, it is George Russell out here in Abu Dhabi. So his win streak's going to come to an end, and all he'll be able to do is finish P5 overall in the Drivers' World Championship there. I'm sure that is gutting for our fellow Brit, but here comes Tsunoda again. Have a look around the outside of us. Just a handful of laps to go here, and we will just say no thank you. So gutted for Drugovich, you know, the final race of the year. He had such a good qualifying session there, got a bit balked by penalties, and then just has not had a race to remember. You know, really did think he's certainly deserved points this year. You know, he's been unlucky. To be honest, he would have had about 11 points, 11 or 13, but it has completely been the game that screwed him late on in this season there. Of course, would have had that 1 point at Austria, and then Esteban Ocon was just given it, apparently. And then, of course, yeah, would have also got about, yeah, he would either finish sort of 4th or 5th back at Zandvoort as well there until the game decided that apparently everyone can overtake at Zandvoort after Lando Norris and I came together in an incident that was most definitely my fault. But yeah, all over the back, though, of Zhou Guanyu here in the dying stages of this race. Sainz just has made no inroads on the cars in front of him as we're now, yeah, trying to get a bit more feisty with Zhou Guanyu, starting to work out what risks you can take and which ones you still can't around here. But it is still very, very difficult. You know, it's a bumpy little circuit with a lot of off-camber stuff that the back end just absolutely does not like. There's obviously lower downforce at lower speeds in these cars, and that's a lot of the corners here. And that might be, for the first time today, Zhou Guanyu without the DRS on the car in front of him there, as now we got Perez all over my gearbox. No, he has still somehow kept on to that DRS there from Carlos Sainz in front of him, so no idea how Zhou Guanyu is doing that, whether he's just getting back inside the range in the braking zone. Surely that time round he was never within the 1 second there of Carlos Sainz as we try and head out of the corner. How is he still doing that? Zhou Guanyu, I feel, is cheating the system here, because there's no way he's still getting the DRS from Sainz. He's not within the 1 second through the detection points, and yet he's still being given it. Right, there is no way Zhou Guanyu is within 1 second of Carlos Sainz in front of him there. It was, again, someone locking up just up the road. And let's see if Zhou Guanyu is going to get the DRS once more. This time round, he doesn't. I was going to say, that might have been the biggest robbery I've ever seen in Abu Dhabi, if Zhou Guanyu kept on getting the DRS there. To the outside of the Alfa Romeo. We've constantly been better on the brakes there. Sebastian Vettel tries to have a look for a move on Nicholas Latifi, but we just can't put the power down over the curb and on the exit. Zhou Guanyu, he's going to have the DRS on me, so he's going to come straight back at us as we head off the corner here. We're going to completely drain the batteries. Look at that, 3 wide up the road there, side by side for us as well. Is Sainz going to be able to pull off the move around the outside of the man he replaced back at Ferrari there? They both got past Nicholas Latifi there as Zhou Guanyu backs out of it. So look at that, Nicholas Latifi reclaims both places there. The elbows are well and truly out between Seb and Carlos here with 3 laps to go here in Abu Dhabi. It's all starting to get a bit feisty. Of course, Sebastian Vettel very little to lose at this point in his Formula 1 career, and I'm sure he'd love to go out on a high there. But yeah, come on, can we try and get our first P14 of the year in all of this commotion, or could we still get more? So here goes Sebastian Vettel again to the outside of Nicholas Latifi. Are we going to see Sainz just sort of wait in the wings this time round there? I mean, if Sainz was sensible, he'd try and get a really nice big run off the corner, like I just attempted to, and wallop the curbs once again. That's going to leave Zhou Guanyu still right there waiting in the wings. As here goes Latifi again on Sebastian Vettel. Will Sainz make it 3 wide? No, he won't this time round. As all, Sainz tried to get under the pair from there. Latifi wise to that one as Sebastian Vettel clean around the outside of the Canadian there. So now up into P12 for Seb. But this is a brilliant battle just to watch out for. We have got the best seat in the house late on here at Abu Dhabi. And yeah, to be honest, like I said, we have not had the pace today. So if we could still recover, you know, to a P14 or better, I would absolutely take that. I'm sure Sainz now going to be able to get a run on Latifi as we head down the back straightaway there. There goes Carlos Sainz to the outside of the Canadian, and how can we try and capitalise here? We just haven't got much tyres left as Sainz has to back out of it. I'm too busy wheel spinning behind him, and now I'm not only going to get the DRS as Perez has made the move work on Zhou Guanyu, but Zhou Guanyu's coming back at Sergio as we head up the back straightaway here, and it all seems to be balancing out between the cars in front. As Perez, I just think, has put a mean block there on Zhou Guanyu in towards the final lap, though, of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix there. It looks like Charles Leclerc is going to be his first win in actually quite a few races in this championship. It has been completely the George Russell show over the last few weekends of this season, and Charles Leclerc kind of quietly walked away with a world championship just through sort of mathematically knocking other drivers out of it. But of course it was the dominant spell throughout the first half of the season as well, as I'm going through to start the final lap. Here comes Perez. Not going to have a look at the inside at turn 1, surely. Sergio Perez there has absolutely mugged me off as we're going to try and get back up. What?
Are you alright? Engine off, engine off.
On the final lap of this Grand Prix, look at this, Perez sends it up the inside of turn 1 there. We get a nice run off the exit of the corner, and Perez just no room given at all. We try and hold the brakes, and the AlphaTauri and the Alpine come in, and we're out on the final lap of the final race of the year, and we get taken out. Luckily, we had no points available for that, and I don't think it's going to affect anything bigger picture there, but I cannot believe it. One final lap it would have required, and we can't even survive that here in Abu Dhabi.
It's been a roller coaster season, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors' Championship at this point. But, so then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it is Charles Leclerc who takes one last race victory there to top off a fantastic season for him and Ferrari. They're our third different driver from our third different team to win a World Championship. Of course, Hamilton, Mercedes 2020, Verstappen at Red Bull 2021, and now Charles Leclerc at Ferrari in 2022 there. But 6 cars from 6 different teams as well in the top 6 come the checkered flag there. Hamilton and Max Verstappen, the last 3 world champions on the podium together, rather fitting at the end of the season there. Lando Norris 4th there, and Fernando Alonso in his final ever Formula 1 race there, a very good P5 ahead of Bottas, Ricciardo, Albon. More points for Williams right at the end of the year there, with K-Mag and Mick Schumacher rounding out the top 10 there. Stroll in 11th. Sebastian Vettel did pick up driver of the day there in 12th place, but a butchered strategy for Carlos Sainz leaves him in 13th there. Latifi, Perez, we would have finished 15th or 16th there at the checkered flag there, but George Russell and myself, the only 2 cars not to make it to the end. And yeah, poor old Drugovich had really good pace in qualifying, but a butchered strategy in the race and just didn't quite have enough. Let's have a rundown then of our full Drivers' World Championship results there. Charles Leclerc is world champion there as Hamilton gets the jump on Max Verstappen right in the dying stages of the campaign. I'm sure that is minorly helpful after the end result last year there. Sainz and George Russell 4th and 5th there. Perez a lonely P6 there come the end of the year. Ocon just hangs on for best of the rest in 7th ahead of Lando Norris there, and Fernando Alonso has a really good run of form to finish out his last F1 season in P9. K-Mag 10th, Bottas jumped Mick Schumacher for 11th in the final weekend's worth of racing there. Ricciardo in P13. We come through 14th place at the end of the year, and yeah, look at that Albon. 15th place there for Williams. A fantastic season by him, ahead of Stroll and Pierre Gasly there. Sebastian Vettel, only 7 points in his final Formula 1 season. I'm sure he's a bit gutted with that, with Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu tied on 5 there, and Drugovich and Latifi the only 2 to score. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari win it all, 116 points clear of Mercedes there. Red Bull P3, a long way ahead of Alpine there, who've come a, very comfortable P4 come the end of the campaign. McLaren do get the jump on Haas at the end of the year there for 5th place there, but what a recovery it is for Haas, from 0 points in 2021 to 126 there in 2022. Safe to say the gamble for them truly did pay off. Alfa Romeo in 7th, we come through for P8, just 9 points there ahead of Aston Martin, but 4 points covered Aston Martin, AlphaTauri there, and Williams, if Albon had just got 1 more place in that final race, there could have been a lot more prize money up for grabs for Williams. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you all so much for watching this season. The first season kicked off of our F1 2022 career mode in the books. Like I said, tomorrow we'll be back with the Haas Road to Glory, and then we'll be back the day after that ready with pre-season testing before we start all over again back in Sakir. But yeah, that's going to do us though for this video, guys. Thank you, like I said, for the insane support so far on F1 22, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 content.
None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.